Washington Post political reporter Jenna Johnson and CBS News senior political editor Steve Chaggaris are both with us in Washington. Hey guys, thanks for joining us. I want to first go to a recent CBS News poll that shows that in the eyes of voters, the candidates are pretty much tied on who's best at handling the economy and jobs. But what did you make of Clinton's speech and her approach in going after Trump, Jenna?
Well, she's been hitting a lot of the same messages that she's been hitting for weeks now. And basically, she's saying this guy is not qualified to be president. Doing business overseas, setting up golf courses overseas is not the same as foreign policy experience. Running a business is not quite the same as running a government. And, again, she's going to keep hitting on this for months to come.
Steve, do you think that people buy into Trump's the billionaire? He'd be better at running the economy.
Well, there's polling to show, and you showed that poll that shows them tied nationally, but let's look at the swing state polls that came out today in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Florida. And in Pennsylvania and Ohio, he has a big lead on who would be better at creating jobs, Trump, right? And if you look at all three states, it's on the jobs question and on who would handle ISIS better, right? And so you look at the two topics that Hillary Clinton has gone after Trump on in the last 2 weeks. Last week was national security. This week is jobs. And I don't think it's a coincidence that she found herself in Ohio today talking about the economy and slamming Trump on the economy when he has a lead on that question in Ohio.
And Ohio and Pennsylvania, huge battleground states, very important. Steve, I also want to ask you about Trump. He's planning to give his own speech on the economy tomorrow. What do you expect him to say?
His speech tomorrow actually is probably going to be more focused on slamming Clinton and her scandals. He was scheduled last week to give this long-awaited speech on Clinton's scandals. He's been teasing this, and he wants to focus on the email scandal and her time as Secretary of State, and basically just use it to sort of trash Clinton's experience. He was derailed from doing that speech last week after the Orlando shootings and decided to give a speech on his reaction to Orlando. So this is the speech he was going to give last Monday, and we're all eagerly anticipating to hear what he has to say in the context of the Clinton scandals.
And Jenna, it's not just about the economy. Fundraising is also important at this point in the game. Clinton's fundraising is kind of leaving Trump in the dust here. The campaign did release a statement on the FEC filing saying that the campaign's fundraising has been incredible, and they continue to see a tremendous outpouring of support for Donald Trump and money to the Republican Party, as well as the positive response to fundraising efforts so far is a further indication that the country does not want yet another corrupt politician like Crooked Hillary. That was their take on it all from their campaign, from their fundraising. And Mr. Trump added, if need be, there could be unlimited cash on hand, as I would put my own money, as I have done already through the primary, spending over $50 million. Our campaign is leaner, more efficient, like our government should be. Do people buy this?
They do, and people who support him love this about him. One of his big selling points during the primaries was that he was able to say, I'm doing something completely unique. I'm not taking donations. I'm using my own money. I'm not beholden to anyone. I'm not beholden to donors. I'm doing this myself. I'm wealthy. I'm going to make the country as wealthy as I am. And he won those primaries, and now he's headed into a general election. He's up against Hillary Clinton, who has a massive war chest. And people around him are saying, you can't do this on your own anymore. You need to start fundraising. This morning in interviews, he was hitting the Republican Party for not doing enough on their part to raise money. And he also said, you know what, I've done this before, I can do it again. I can self-finance if I want, which must have made his fundraisers just groan, because how do you ask people for money when your candidate is saying, I don't actually need it?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Steve, I want to ask you, it's been a kind of rough month for Trump. There was backlash from within his own party. And now there's, of course, the firing of campaign manager Corey Lewandowski. So what do you make of all this? Is the Trump campaign in trouble, or could the shakeup be a new rebranding effort for him?
Well, it's still early to declare the campaign in trouble. I mean, I think it's more in trouble because of the things he's been saying publicly and because of the month that he really sort of squandered, where he had an opportunity to go after Hillary Clinton, and it was really more about the kinds of things, the controversial things that he was saying, and really distracting from a more positive message that he could have used to unify Republicans. That, I think, was a bigger problem than the behind-the-scenes campaign manager being fired. However, let's look where he stands right now. It's the middle of June. He has 4.5 months until the election. He doesn't have much money in the bank. He's got to be out there fundraising. He has a party that is not necessarily all on board with his campaign. And he's at a point now where he needs to prove to not only the general electorate, but he has to get his own party on board. And so he's going to go out there and try to, I don't know, pivot a little bit as some people want him to in his party. I think people were happy, Republicans were happy to see Corey Lewandowski get fired in the sense that now the professionals are running the operation. But it really all comes down to Trump and whether Trump can be a disciplined candidate, whether he can get a message out there that's going to resonate with the general electorate, and whether he can boost his poll numbers. And if he continues to falter in the polls and continues to falter in terms of allowing Hillary Clinton to run a ton of ads and raise a lot more money than he does, then it doesn't bode well for him down the road. But he has time to turn this around.
Jenna, we know that he really values his children's opinion. I was actually kind of surprised when this announcement came out. Was Washington insiders like yourself surprised? And what was the straw that ultimately broke the camel's back on this?
You know, we were surprised and not surprised. I think some people were surprised that it didn't happen weeks ago, especially when there were events that happened when Trump could have more easily fired his campaign manager. But right now, I mean, we're heading into the convention pretty soon. It's a quieter week. He's going to be overseas later this week. And it just, I think his children thought the time had come. They were tired of waiting. They did not trust Corey Lewandowski. They wanted him gone. And Monday was the day that it finally happened.
Okay, and proof that just how much he values his children's opinion, if you didn't know so already. Jenna Johnson and Steve Chaggaris, thank you very much.